We just got a really interesting look at the upcoming Ahsoka show from Empire, and specifically, we got our best look yet at the Inquisitor. At least I assume it's the Inquisitor who will be appearing in Season 1. Now, there's a ton to talk about here. This image both helps and hurts certain fan theories, so although I kind of wish I had waited to make last night's video today, I'm kind of glad I've got an opportunity to go more in depth in this one. In today's video at the end, we'll also cover some other Star Wars news, but let's get started. Who is this individual? Well, it seems to be an Inquisitor, quite simply. The sleek black armor, most notably the lightsaber, the stance, even everything looks Inquisitor to me, and most people have been pointing out that the armor is remarkably similar to that used by the 8th brother. Now, that would actually be an appropriate connection. The 8th brother was one of many Inquisitors featured in Star Wars Rebels and was one of several actually killed by Ahsoka. And I know what you're saying. If the 8th brother was killed, how could they be in this show? Well, watch the death. If I were a writer trying to make someone's death ambiguous in the Star Wars universe, that's pretty much the scene I would have written. The Inquisitor doesn't suffer any mortal damage. They're supposedly killed by falling from a height, which is something we know you can survive in Star Wars, especially if you have the Force, and we don't see the body. Now, the Star Wars databank does say they were killed here, but listen, no record's perfect. Things change as they're needed. Plot-wise, I like the idea of an Inquisitor coming back, but there's one kind of major issue, one detail about the Inquisitor that doesn't match here. The 8th brother only has 4 fingers. He's a Torellian Django jumper, and yeah, that's actually the species name, Torellian Django jumper. That's weird not only for the Django part, but the fact that Torellian is kind of like the Star Wars version of Earthling. But anyway, it's also strange because in the Clone Wars, where we see other Torellian Django jumpers, they have 5 fingers. Perhaps it's a bit of sexual dimorphism. It doesn't really matter because that's what the 8th brother looks like. Now, it's possible that they simply changed the hand, made the design more fully human for the show. I mean, we saw how the Grand Inquisitor changed in appearances in Kenobi, but I don't know. I don't think this is the 8th brother because of the hands. The other thing you have to consider about the 8th brother is that he only appears in that one episode of Star Wars Rebels. He's not a super well-known character. Now, of course, the episode he's featured in is a big one. It's the return of Maul. Ahsoka's present. It features the battle between Vader and Ahsoka, but no, now I think it's probably someone else. And the other name that people have really been attaching to this character is Barriss Offee. Barriss is an appealing option for this character for several reasons. For one, she has that direct conflict with Ahsoka. I mean, she's the reason Ahsoka left the Order, and Ahsoka's the reason she was captured, in a way at least. Ahsoka was tied to her scheme unraveling. She was also captured after the bombing, and we don't know what happened to the character. Having a corrupted Jedi in custody seems like something Palpatine probably would have been interested in, and also the exact type of person who would be transformed into an Inquisitor. It's my opinion that the fate of the character has been left purposely ambiguous for this very reason. And if I were a betting man and there were futures for who this character is, I would put money on it being Barriss. Not a lot of money, but you know, as a risky future, I think it's a decent choice. I also just got the feeling watching the fight that this was a woman, partially because of their size compared to Ahsoka, but that's just kind of a gut feeling. Could very well be wrong. I also think it's not impossible that this could be Shin. I don't know why, I just kind of get that feeling. Part of it's because what's an Inquisitor doing after the fall of the Empire? Like, you've got to be a real narc to still be hunting Jedi when Palpatine's dead. The Inquisitorius, there's no way it still exists in any functional way. Maybe it's sort of a cover for Shin's true purpose, but we're getting into wild speculation territory. Just like saying, hey, it could be Ezra. That's wild speculation. Me, as a responsible YouTuber, I would never even suggest that. I've certainly never, ever been one to go on wild flights of fancy, just like I would never say it could also be Starkiller, who knows. Anyway, I'm not going to spend more than 4.5 minutes talking about a single image. I do want to talk on something that's tangentially Star Wars, and that is the Apple Vision Pro. And I'm not talking about it because it's future technology and tied to Star Wars that way. No, they actually released a Disney Plus tie-in video showing what the app could look like in the headset. And of course, a big part of that was Star Wars. It showed a tie-in to what things could look like while watching The Mandalorian or watching any show in a sort of Star Wars environment. I'll go ahead and ignore the fact that they call Mandalore and other planets Tatooine, but I don't know. Generally, well, I think the Star Wars stuff and the rest of it looks cool. It's ultimately promising a lot on the software side that I don't know will be delivered. Like watching all this NFL stuff, watching the replays of the basketball game at your tabletop, that will take a lot of bespoke sort of software development for each specific application, for each type of show, each sport, whatever. I just don't necessarily see that happening. Like regarding the Star Wars stuff, you'll need to develop assets for every single episode. It just doesn't seem practical to me, especially where the amount of people using the headset is going to be so small. The thing is priced at $3,500 American dollars. It's also not anything that's completely new in the field of AR, because you can technically do these things if the software exists on any AR or VR device. You can do it on your phone with a cardboard cutout. You can do it on basic VR sets, high-end sets. The real sort of kicker is obviously resolution's going to affect the degree to which you can enjoy it. Like virtual desktops, they're not anything new. I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that because I thought the Star Wars stuff looked cool, but I don't know how practical it is. And also, as someone who's used VR and tried like the virtual computer setups, I said virtual desktop earlier. I know that's something completely different. I just don't like being cut out of the real world for that long. Like, I don't like having this big thing on my face and being cut off from the rest of the universe. I will be really interested and also really frightened when they can miniaturize this to like sunglasses and you can take the whole sort of integrated app experience with you, but I don't really see that coming anytime soon. But those are my thoughts on two very different things. There was another bit of news recently about Mark Hamill not really being interested in playing Luke Skywalker anymore. I actually think that's totally fair, of course. I'm going to cover that probably tonight on my Clips channel. If you're interested in that, search up XClips, youtube.com/XClips. We do daily uploads there. But that's all I've got for today. Till next time, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.